say?
Can I think of anything to say?
Okay, well, think, what are you going to use it for?
I say enjoy today. That's something to say.
Yes.
And that would be a beautiful thing to say. And right. On that note, welcome here. As you see, there's a siren by the door. As you see, my little mask is on my ear because I am at Studio Central with a class here today. I am so excited. It is a beautiful Tuesday. We have a little break from that heat wave, so that's nice. But like we have cold water here, we have some granola bars, and we started back with our coffee. So if you've been missing that coffee, come back. We have coffee for you. It's on the house to this week only. See you soon. If you don't know who I am, my name is Marissa Hoff. I am the art program director here at Studio Central. Studio Central is a wonderful space that you can come and meet people who like art. You can meet people who like art, you can meet people who do art, share your techniques, share your happiness and joy, and that's what we do. We are firm believers that your art and just creating community can really benefit your mental health, and we all here together are really good advocates of making sure that you are having a great day. So that's my speech for the day. Today we have the lovely Kristen Wiltshire. Hello. Every time I pronounce, you can. I'm 6 feet away from you. Yeah. Every time I say your name, I think of Shires in Lord of the Rings. Just to let you know. Good.
Because that's why I like my last name.
Good. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, tell us what we're doing today, Kristen.
Okay, so
as I'll be your camera lady.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me back.
You're welcome.
You would have last seen me while we were still doing this at home. So hopefully if you were following us at home, you still are, or you can be here in person. So
exactly.
Either way, we're so happy to meet you in both places. And today we're going to be doing brush script / hand lettering.
That's what it's called.
Yes, it's dependent upon kind of what tool you're using. Okay. What did you put in the bulletin?
Brush script.
Brush script. Hey,
forgot hand lettering was a thing.
You know what? Brush script is basically the technique that you do when you're doing handwriting in a calligraphy style using a paintbrush versus hand lettering can be used with pens, markers, or anything. I think you could probably count paint brush pens as brush script, but I would almost count that more as hand lettering.
Cool.
But yeah, so we are going to learn some of the basics of that. And we're really lucky today because we have lots of supplies at Studio Central, so we can do some hand lettering with a brush pen.
Ooh, put your hand behind it like a beauty guru. Oh yeah, look at that fine point. I can see. And then we also have some watercolors.
And then we also have watercolors.
And a whole array of colors.
So true.
We have so many markers, so you can come and use one of our markers.
If anyone would like to join, feel free to grab some supplies with a friend. Yeah, so the first thing with brush scripts, that's what we're going to talk about first, is your tools that are really important. So the most important thing is your paintbrush, because truly you could take one of the most talented brush script artists and give them a really not equipped brush and it probably wouldn't look very good. So the brushes that we chose...
It's just a truck outside, sorry.
Are, for me, I like to use pointed tipped paintbrushes or liners, although the pointed tip is going to be the easiest. So everyone should have those at their desk. And it's good to have about 2 different sizes because we're going to look at a couple of different techniques. One of them will be just doing, one color brush script, and the other one will be doing kind of mixing your watercolors to make a rainbow word, which is a really fun technique and one that you can play with a ton with kind of different palettes, so it's really fun. The reason why you want a pointed tip is the same reason why when we're using these markers, this isn't just a Sharpie, it's actually a brush marker, because it has a pointed tip, and then the body of the the tip is also flexible. So that is what helps to be able to create the cursive lines and to change the widths of the letters that you're doing. So basically, if you know those two things, you could essentially probably figure it out yourself without any technique, just by, you know, trial and error. But you won't, it will be much harder if you don't use the right tools. So this next technique, that's kind of like the main two primary steps that you want to keep in mind, can apply to both the markers and the pens. So I know we have a couple people in all audiences that are using markers and pens. It probably even would apply to if you have like a pencil at home or a marker that's just like a flat marker, because it's a two-step technique, which means that you can go back and make it into your brush lettering or sorry, hand lettering or brush strip style.
I used that when I tried. It was very nice and easy.
The next phase is the more like intermediate, and that's just doing it all with one script. So this is kind of like the learning type of technique. So I'm going to show you step 1 and step 2, and I have this like really cool, like feels like vintage loose leaf I'm going to be using.
It's very nice.
So
could do a cool swat.
let's pick a word. Someone give me a word. Kind.
Aww, good job, Kevin.
Learn how to do calligraphy, or not calligraphy, just regular handwriting in school.
I did.
You did? I did.
I didn't.
A little bit.
I did.
Because they started kind of phasing that out.
They did, yeah.
But I was really lucky. I got like the generation that we could learn handwriting and also how to type, like kind of right in the middle. But is everyone comfortable trying handwriting today? Okay. So what I'm going to do for my first step of this hand lettering, because I'm using a marker, is to write the word just in regular handwriting. I'm not trying to make it look calligraphy style. I'm just going to write it regular handwriting, okay? Okay, let's do this now.
I was gonna say she is so talented to be able to write it and show us at the same time.
I know, I would have been very brave, maybe next time. So I'm trying to do just everything the same width. Okay, so I wrote the word kind, everything just one width, handwriting regular. Now, the second step that you're gonna do, that's the first one. The second step that you're gonna do is you're going to ensure that every time you have an upstroke, you have a thin line. And every time you have a downstroke, your line is thicker. You can create a thicker line by putting more pressure on your tool as you move downwards. A way that you can remember this is like, which way does gravity go? Because of gravity, my hand wants to get heavier. So while you're going up, you have like an upshot and it's thin, then the gravity is making you have a heavy hand. So I'm gonna show, I will show this way this time so you can kind of see the process. The reason that this is kind of like, it's kind of like, it's not cheating. It's just like, it's going back and doing it twice to get the technique that you want instead of doing it the first time. So you're gonna actually use the same handwriting that you used, but you're going to go and do the downstrokes again. I would, if you really want to do the upstrokes as well and trace the whole thing, you can. You just have to be a lot more careful that you're not in the thin areas showing that there's two different lines. So, but I'm gonna trace it above the paper so that I can remember what's the upstroke and what's the downstroke. So up at about this point in the K, I'm gonna do it down. So I'm gonna go back and just make that downstroke thicker. Then I'm going down here too, and down here too. So I'm gonna make that thick.
It's nice to show that you can also, if you go a little bit out, you can always fill it in too.
Yes.
So if you go a little bit off the line, you can fill it in, and it even makes it a little bit of a thicker line then too.
Yes.
Which adds to it.
And if you're doing this with pencils ever, you can just not fill it in on the downstrokes, and then once you've created all the lines, you can go back and shade that in. So downstroke. Once I realize I'm going to go up, I'm going to stop with my thickness, and I'm going to go down here. Downstroke. downstroke on the D.
Ooh, those are cool ones.
Yeah, there's certain letters that definitely the technique looks cool. I love the loops. So a common mistake in brush script is making the entire loop really thick because it's like, you can get confused, like where's the downstroke, where's the gravity. So if you do the whole thing, it'll just make a really thick letter instead of making a calligraphy style letter. So up, then go down, and then back up. I think of it like, so that's a little bit more. This one, I feel like we could have made the thin lines a little bit thinner so that you can see the technique better. But I think of it like shadows. You know, when you're painting, you want to have your highlight and your shadow, and you want the shadows to be consistent. Because if you ever watch The Office, Dwight says there aren't like 3 suns in the Earth's galaxy or whatever. That's my favorite. I always think back to that one line he's criticizing Pam's painting. So think of this like almost like shadows. You want them to be consistent, and that will make it look more natural and beautiful. Okay, so that is just your 2-step. And then if you're doing this basic 2-step and you want to add some beautiful like details around it, hand lettering often will use, and there's some examples in your tables, but it will often use like the calligraphy handwriting style, and then it will also do like a non-handwriting style. So I'm going to do the top here. I'm just going to use like block letters. I'm going to make it say B fine.
The Alicia Keys is making the camera shaky because I'm jamming out.
And really, you can just be creative with how you do those things. I just did like block letters without filling it in. And then you might want to even be super fancy and do.
We always want to be super fancy.
I love being fancy. Okay. Oh, maybe I can borrow green. Can you grab me green?
I brought one.
Okay, can I borrow? Or she'll grab one, then you
I'll
can
grab a
use that
thin one, yeah.
Oh, a thin one?
I got 2 here. 2 choices, but thank you for sharing. That's lovely.
Okay, so maybe I want to draw like kind of a leafy
Empty?
vine thing.
I'll make you
in
some
the
more.
background. Really, like the decorative part is the most fun part because then you guys can just kind of like emphasize your writing. That's the hard part. You also need not shaky hands.
I mean, I got shaky hands, and you make it work for you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, that is.
I could do some cool stuff.
That just completely changed how it looked. It's now like this whole picture. Cool.
And that's a really good point that Marissa brings up. When I talk about my shaky hands, I can have moments in the day where I'm like, hey, I had too much coffee.
Yeah.
And then I get like that. But it's so true. And actually different tools will be, if that is something that you are working with, different tools will be more efficient. So markers are really great. And a thicker tool also can totally work well. And it can, yeah.
So I have a challenge for you now.
Okay.
This song, it's very quiet, but there's a song playing right now called Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. Make that lyric onto a piece of paper.
Okay.
Go.
Should I now demonstrate with paint?
Go for it. Yeah, that'd be great. And on that note of Here Comes the Sun, did you draw this?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's so cute. It's
was
like
just practicing.
you predicted the song was going to come on.
Oh.
Yeah. James is just throwing you a bunch of hearts because it looks so cute. It's true. And here's some examples that Kristen put out. So, Kristen, where did you find these examples?
The
Did you?
internet.
The internet?
The internet.
Whoa.
Photos.
Whoa. Oh, just stock photos. Nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, yeah. Now Kristen is going to teach us the painting technique. We have another example here.
Paintbrushes,
Believe in yourself.
about jumping
It's my favorite.
into multicolored.
Oh, we're good. We're
Oh,
good
you're
for
good.
it.
You want to try? Okay. It's basically the exact same thing as using one color, but you just use different colors or whatever. Okay. So with a paintbrush, You want to make sure that, again, it's a pointed tip and that it's like got an adequate amount of water. Dry brushes with this technique, it can be a look, but I often find it looks really rough unless it's got enough water.
That's how mine look normally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll
hard
practice.
to get the right consistency. But you also don't want too much, because if you have too much, it will pool and puddle and then probably drip. So.
Do you always do your lettering when you're doing it in paint in watercolor?
Yes, unless I'm doing like a mural. So I've done like window murals, and I do that in acrylic, and it still, honestly, it works. Still,
Cool.
You need that paint. You need that pointed brush.
And going back to James did a workshop with watercolor. Are we doing a wet on wet technique
that's
or a
excellent.
wet on dry technique?
So technically, it's a wet on dry technique.
Oh, okay.
Which we want crisp letters. So that's the important thing.
Good to know.
However, when we are adding different colors into our word, which we'll do, that would actually be a wet on wet technique, because we're going to do the letters first, and we're going to just tap in some other colors into it.
Oh my goodness, this seems so cool.
It's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to start.
I'm gonna hover over you with my cool selfie stick.
Start with kind of your
together my
base
tape.
color, whichever base color you want for your word.
Yeah, you should.
If you can't think of
Honestly?
what if you can't think of what you want to write right now, do Here Comes the Sun with me. I'm going to write sun really big first to kind of demonstrate the changing of the colors. While you're doing this, with the paintbrush, you can do the original technique that we did, that's doing 2 layers. Or you can try to do it all at once, which means just being conscious of keeping your upstrokes a thinner line. And then whenever your hand is going downwards, you're going to put more pressure on your brush to make it thick. You might find that it's going to be an inconsistent line, like it might change its width throughout, but you can always go back afterwards and make an even line. All right, so.
I was just peeking over at Kevin's letters.
Oh, yeah.
I love the color that you used though. That's great. The different colors. It's so nice. It's almost like a rainbow. That's great.
Rainbow is nice.
Rainbow. Can I show this?
You didn't know you did it.
It's so nice though. This is a really great example that script doesn't have to just look like cursive. It can be anything, but it can have these nice colors that's filled in. It's so nice.
Can I see what you're doing?
Yes, feel free. So I did my downstroke
Sun.
stick, and now I'm just going back to kind of even out, make sure that if there's any rough edges, I'm having the steadiest hand as possible.
So
That
good.
is really good.
And I actually lied, I didn't do the rainbow color. I just did all one color. But now I will. Because I realized, I thought that maybe I could do more of that wet on wet technique, but I think the orange is so bright that it won't work as well to do the wet on wet. So the difference between marker and paint, they do have a little bit of a different look. Also, this paintbrush is thicker than the marker that I had, so I find like the thick can really help because you can do more of a drastic change in the widths that you're working with. Now, if you want to, I'm gonna be brave and try and do this way.
You're so
I'm gonna be
brave.
brave. Maybe I should have just written be brave.
Brave is good.
That's a good one. You should write that one next. That one sounds great. It's nice that we just have like encouraging sayings we're thinking of now.
And that's really positive. I often think, okay, so background story to why I like doing this is I think that when you speak words into the world, there's power to that, and that it's something that happens to your mind and to the people around you, to people's moods, that when you actually put something out there, it can be more present instead of just keeping them inside your head. So that's why I like to write poems and like lyrics and quotes that are important to me, and then when I've written them, I know, like, I don't know, I've processed it in a different way than just like listening to music or something. So I'm gonna try and write Here Comes the
Love that.
Marissa's request.
Yeah.
And so for this, I'm going to change colors each letter that I'm writing. This is kind of can be difficult, but because you're gonna do it while it's wet, it's gonna blend in to each other. Oh, Robin, how are you doing? Let's check.
Which one are you? Who are you speaking with? I'll help with names.
Oh,
Are you gonna
not
write
Robin.
there?
Marissa. Kim, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Also, second Marissa works.
I'm watching you on here, so.
Oh, good, cool. How are things going here? Yeah?
Not bad.
Okay, good, good, good.
What are you gonna write?
I'm gonna write here comes the, so it's like here comes the sun. If you need, if anyone needs more supplies, there's some stuff at the front, feel free to grab.
Oh no, it's not my phone.
So I'm gonna start with one color. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Just going heavier on my downstrokes. Be careful if you're starting to write above because your paint's still wet, so you can't smudge it with your hand. Okay, there's my H. I'm now gonna change color. I'm gonna grab a progressive color. I'm not gonna go like from yellow to black because I think that it would probably just fill in the yellow with the black because it's a much more dominant color. And then I'm just gonna start within the letter so that there can be some natural blending between the paint. So these letters are so thin that it's actually not blending very well, but with bigger ones, it's better. Here.
I can do the dizzy thing. You're on the big screen now.
Oh, noise.
Yeah.
We're on the
This
big
is also a
very
really great
famous.
angle. I don't need to touch it.
I know.
Oh.
You were over there. I'm like, well, where's the camera?
Right here. Now we can have a little sippy of my chai tea. Now I can do one.
Nice. What are you gonna write, Marissa?
You want a board?
Oh, there's some boards here.
Okay.
Yeah. What should I write? I really like that you wrote that. Enjoy yourself is nice. What should I write? Should I write the same thing? Enjoy today.
There was one you said something about patience.
Oh, have patience. Look alert. Look alive. Look alert.
So one other thing that we didn't talk about that really can make or break a piece,
And what do that be?
and by make or break, I mean it really makes it, can't really break it. It just makes it awesome, is doing really long dramatic swoops with anytime you have to like cross a T. I will demonstrate on this paper. So here are two T's, just like lowercase. I find you can do really fancy with little effort T's in the way that you start by going up and then down. Just like that. Or you can also hook it. So, and it's hard to do a little bit. I'm holding it. I really like to do a hook, which means that I can do a hook like this and go across. You can also do this with the A's, or maybe you want to hook the other way. So you go like that, just the opposite way. It makes them fancy. You could also just go super loopy and fancy, but
What was that one we were talking about before?
what's that?
There was a sentence that
I'm
I
trying to
liked
think. Yeah, what were some of the sentences we were saying?
Hmm.
Katie's thinking of some new things to write.
What's a good song that you like?
Ooh.
I love to just like think of songs and
back in the USSR.
what's a lyric in it?
That's a song that is currently playing.
Oh.
I've never been in New York this far.
I don't think it's called that anymore either. So we'll never will be. So I wrote just brave and
That's a little writing. That's a little.
I'm not good with that.
It's
No.
it's really difficult, honestly. It's way harder with paint than with brush, and
it's way harder
the
with
more you practice, the more comfortable you are. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking so good.
These are my practice.
Also, very good practices. How are you finding the brush that you're using?
Not bad.
Okay.
I'm finding. I have a question for you.
Yes.
I'm trying to do an N and then a D.
Okay. Yes. So the
So-
connecting.
How do you make it look like there's the same connection?
Let me write it down so I can see. So you're writing like and. Oh, you can do either.
You can do either.
So I often will you do want to be consistent, probably, like if you're writing a long thing where that happens more than once. But really it's up to your style, so that's with it disconnected.
Yeah.
And then if you want to connect it, you would just loop that N to the D. It's probably easier to start disconnected and then see where it can loop.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's the same for M, Z, any of those that kind of end at the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you're doing an end that comes down there, you can leave it disconnected or you can loop it back in. Good question.
checking out the kicks. Mate laughing at me. Oh, a gift. Oh no, that one's dirty. Wow, I'm so amazed with how this no, how the paintbrushes are using as used as a tripod. That's amazing.
This thicker paper is very absorbent. It's hard to blend. Play with that.
Consider maybe picking a budget and maybe buying some fans for just to really thin air.
Yeah. Well, those doors leave it for open, but they're working on the sidewalk. Yeah.
The only thing with writing that is important is kind of spacing it out. This is my biggest problem with writing. Is so I'm trying to write together here with multiple colors, and I almost ran out of room over here. So I often will go over it with my paintbrush to see where I think that it will be spaced out, and then that helps to not get into the situation where you're okay, well, I don't have any more space.
I thought you were so long for it. I'm looking for some. What? Yes, this is true.
They'll work together. I'm just gonna check if there's any questions in this live stream. No questions.
Just checking the comments.
Just checking. Maybe we'll go. Can we spy on your work, Kevin? Can we look at your work?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome.
I'm just
Yeah, looking great.
I'm trying to do the join thing.
Yes.
Now, so I'm finding that challenging.
Yeah. And which paper you're using? The watercolor paper. I found that the more wet, the more water there was in the paint, the easier it was to blend.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, if you and probably like thicker letters, I find there's one that I did on the back of here that worked a little bit better. On this side, it didn't work perfectly, but it blended a little bit more when I started doing fun there.
Nice. Oh, I like that.
Oh yeah, that was with a marker, so you can get that really nice thin look.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
My concentration.
You're doing perfect. That looks amazing.
The marksman got ruined. I kind of lost my concentration.
Yeah, that can happen. I think when you do your second layer, like you're doing, you can thicken it up where you want it to be, and you can make it work. But you also we have tons of paper, so yeah, those look awesome. Really good. Okay.
Okay, I think I need a new.
Some more paper.
No, oh, that's
Some more here. That one's a really nice one. What's that?
Be brave.
Oh, a new.
Yeah, I need a new. Oh, have
I
courage.
was saying, have courage is a great one.
Silk paper.
So we've also done like wreaths in the past. So this is something you can do right inside of the wreath, which makes it beautiful. Brings it together.
Yeah.
Does anyone need more paper?
Sure.
Thank you.
Need more paper? No? Okay. Yeah, this one is thicker. Yeah. Yes, I should put the
Well, we'll give it a try. Give it a try. Yeah.
All right, if you have been joining us or you are watching this after it's been live, thank you so much for being here. Hope that you enjoy working on brush script or hand lettering with whatever you have. Thanks so much, and come by Studio Central whenever you can. All right, have a good day.